Good morning, good morning. How is everybody doing out here today? I hope you're going to enjoy this open because it's not looking very hot so far. SPY had a big move down today in pre-market as PPI data release. SPY had even a larger drop start to ensue. Good morning, good morning. Happy Friday. Happy end of the week, everybody. It's almost the weekend out there for all of our partiers. You know how we are, though. My puts are looking way nicer, KNMSO says. Beautiful. Like to hear that. Another good downside move into this morning. Keep watching resistance here at 684.50 to 685. This is going to be critical. Critical. Good morning, Aramis. Let's go see Tesla here. 404, nice rejection. That's a good resistance, actually. Your puts are looking nicer. Rick, Manicured, Toro, Jose, Jake, Zach, Arabuto, Jake, KNMSO, welcome up, good morning. I was excited to see Netflix jump last night, Jake says. They actually opened up pretty good this morning, too. I'm glad to see that, but I don't know what's up with that weird opening candle. You can see into the open, they were doing great. Had another nice jump, but right back down. They might have some news there. Good morning, Vintage. Man, 682 acting as support on SPY as well. Let's zoom out on like a 15-minute chart because SPY is actually on an uptrend here and it's holding the bottom end of the wedge. Let me get a drawing at this one real quick. This is funny. This is huge, though. This is a big area for SPY. It's holding the wedge. And it's at 682 support. That is so crazy. Still holding within this wedge. Are we going to finally get a move out of here? Or is it just going to continue to be stuck? Because that is a crazy looking bounce intraday. Netflix gave up on The WBD merger walked away with a free $2 billion. I liked how they pushed up. Hopefully they can keep it going. Looking through some headlines here this morning. Of course, PPI data is one of the big ones from today. We can see SPY and pre-market continuing down as that PPI data came through. Now, keep your eyes on 682. 682 is going to be big. The PPI data essentially came out and showed that inflation was running a bit hotter. It showed a 0.5% increase over a 0.3% expectation. I think PPI is better gauged than CPI. You do. Now that's interesting. I could see some arguments there, potentially. I can't remember Powell's stance on it. Man, Tesla had a crazy hold here. Look at that weird bounce here. At open, we had some weird movements out there, guys. There was a, like, capitulation or something. It was like a lot of stocks dropped off right away, but then exploded back off support. You had a scare with your keyboard, Mason says. How do you have a scare with your keyboard? Oh man, banks are getting weak. Bank of America pulling back. Uh-oh, JP Morgan falling down a bit. Not looking too good for the banks at all today. A lot of them are turning over in a harsh fashion too. Oh shoot. That would suck, Mason. You're probably still under the Apple warranty thing, though, which is good. You want to know the real inflation? Ask a business owner. My family owns 3 restaurants, Coconut says. Yeah, you probably see food prices and prices of all types of stuff going all over the place. Hope SPY can get below 680 so I can start to sell my puts. You want to see a 680 breakdown? Okay. If it does that, you'll be in the driver's seat today, that's for sure. That is a pretty big zone coming up. If it does break under 682 here today, I think it could get there pretty easy. Or hell, even early next week, but seems weird today, kind of stuck, but of course, a lot of traders are very bearish this morning. Small business owners fear raising prices. We keep prices the same and eat the loss. Uh-oh. That doesn't sound good, Coconut. Sounds tough. Citigroup pulling back like crazy. 110.50. Tesla below 400 for sure, like a Shaq dunk. I don't know. We opened up so weak today. I'm just a little bit worried that we get a slight bounce back. At least the SPY's pointing lower here. If we do break 682, I think that's going to be really good confirmation to the downside, but $682.30 hitting now. It's going to get close, guys. Uh-oh, are we going to see the wedge break down here today? It's starting to look kind of nasty. $681.94. There we go. 682 broke. The bears out there are going to be rejoicing with this breakdown. This is a big move for SPY. Hopefully it's not a fake out. Uh-oh, starting to bounce back above 682 already. Nice green. Ooh, right back. Right back. No good confirmation down. Little fake out action there. But hopefully some bears are able to lock in some gains down there because, gosh, from yesterday to today, that was probably a good opening move for a lot of them. Wow, what a bounce. 682 right back up. Demure, how we doing today? Hope you're doing great here to end the week. Today's the last day to buy your discounts. Is it? Yeah, I guess it is, isn't it? I didn't even think about that, Demure. I forget, with February it ends so fast. 180 support is making me content. It's going to go up from here. You're looking at NVIDIA at the 180 support. Wow, now that's a weird move today, Demir, especially on the 1 minute when you zoom it in a lot. Yeah, this is a big zone. Okay. Let's look at it on Bookmap. I'll bet that there's a lot of buyers stacked there. I don't even have NVIDIA loaded yet. Now that's weird. That never happens. Sorry about that. I had an alarm set for something. Why pay for streaming when you can make your own movies now? Coconut says. Yeah, you could just go right on to AI. Have a nice movie made for you. Stuff's crazy out there now. I saw Google announce something yesterday with I don't think it was movies, but I think something about they had better like picture generation or something. Maybe it was movies actually. It was called like Banana Peel 2. I was looking into it a little bit. Nano Banana 2 is what it is. Yeah, it says it's a state-of-the-art model for image generation and editing. Okay. Bye-bye, UAL Elite said. Palantir had a nice jump there, but United Airlines is falling off here. That was bad, too. They're kind of in a downtrend on the daily chart. If you look at it only in February and you look at the peak, there's actually a trend of lower highs happening. The good guy, he said it took 4 months to get a 5090. Oh my gosh. Like on back order or like like you had to get the money for it. That seems like a long time for a back order like that. I've been actually looking into a new PC, and I was like, damn, of course I go into it when the RAM is $1,000 instead of $200. That should be here. They said it was going to ship March 1st, potentially, like March 1st through the 4th. But that's actually on back order too. $5090 is too rich for my blood. I can get a 1080 Ti and cry myself to sleep. There's probably people out there going 5090, 1080 Ti. What are these kids talking about? Visa has been pretty bad on the daily chart today. It turned over again with the banks. The financial sector's been pretty weak, and today again, pretty rough overall. And SPY's still consolidating here around the wedge. It never really broke significantly under 682, like we were saying, barely under there. Is it good for your AI rig? I would hope. Dell is flying up, Wes said. DELL? Hey, nice. Dell is up 16%. They had earnings yesterday in after hours and really popped it off here this morning. Very nice by Dell. That's a solid jump. I love 144 touching there. I don't think the betting apps are doing well, just keeps falling. Yeah, like DraftKings and Flutter, they're under a lot of pressure right now. It's not that they're not doing so well. The stocks aren't doing well. Now, just because the stocks aren't doing well doesn't mean that they won't turn around in the future, right? But whenever I think about these apps right now, they're just under pressure. Polymarket, Kalshi, stealing some market share from them. What I'm really curious of is what their earnings are looking like, right? It looks like they're like right around estimates. I have not done like a deep dive recently into any numbers with DraftKings, but it would be interesting, especially over the next couple of earnings reports, to get a much better picture of how Kalshi and Polymarket are going to impact them. Whoa, that's crazy, Mason. I don't even know who that guy is. Eric says, come on, Spy Tank, baby, 675, let's go. It's really stuck here. Excuse me, it's really stuck here. They delisted AGL. Oh gosh. That sounds like a shitty situation. PLTR, nice support down here. There's probably a good reason for it though. At the end of the day, 125, 126 support zone really starting to hold on Palantir. Palantir's been kind of falling straight down. It's had a big pullback here. This is the biggest pullback that Palantir's really had on its overall move. I'm not saying the biggest percentage pullback, but it's just a big pullback in general here for him. In your opinion, Autodesk is amazing. Gosh, Palantir. I really want to see how Tessie's up to. What's Tessie up to here today? Nice and flat for us, just like the SPY. You've got to love it. Nice and slow. Gosh, SPY still holding that 682 zone. Are we going to actually break that today? That's the $1 million question, right? Are we going to break 682 or are we going to bounce? It looks like Nvidia is really putting pressure at 180 right now. Let me get back to my normal SPY charts here, where we have supported 681.50 instead of 682 actually. SPY's about to drop. Collect those calls so we can drop it, please, Eric says. All right, it's watch list time this morning. Block's doing really good. XYZ with earnings yesterday. Not doing much intraday today. Oil. Oh, I forgot about oil this morning. Oil was really explosive. I was too excited about SPY, but look at crude oil on the daily chart. It's starting to actually break through the 66.50 support, or sorry, resistance. And it's breaking out in a pretty solid way as well. Y'all hear about Sweden putting those barcodes on their military ships? No, I have no idea what that even means. Iran strike over the weekend, good guy asked. That's actually a good question. That is a good question there. Will Iran strike over the weekend? Or will the US strike Iran, I guess is the way I should have worded it. Sorry about that. So they can Scandinavian. I didn't realize that was going to be a joke. That is hilarious. I'd never heard of that. I was like, barcodes on a ship. I was like, what? I did not realize that was going to be a joke. That's hilarious. All right, guys, quick intermission. Give me 1 sec here. I need to go grab a drink really fast. I'm dying. 1 second. All right. We are back. We have the monster again today. The zero sugar one. Man, this Formula One guy should not have came out with this one because it's good, and I normally never drink these things, but at least anymore. TWFG is looking decent. Tesla's bouncing a little bit. TWFG, I've never seen this one. Daily chart coming back. It was dying. Earnings are helping it recover. Seems like a recent IPO at the end of 24. Not super recent, but fairly. Yeah, SPY popping back, 684.50. That hold at 682 was pretty good there. That was a good hold so far today. All right, guys, how do you want to see the earnings next week? What's your favorite one? We have a lot reporting. Berkshire, Norwegian Cruise Lines, Riot, Big Bear, Mongo, Plug, ASTS, Archer, Target, Best Buy, C, CrowdStrike, GitLab. Everybody's favorite, European Wax Center. What the? Sometimes you see some weird stocks on here, I'll tell you. Oh, AEO, American Eagle. Webull will be reporting. Avgo, Costco, Marvel. There's quite a bit of growth stocks, I gotta say. It's kind of a growth stock week more than anything. My big eye is going to be on Sydney Sweeney with American Eagle. They've actually been kind of consolidating. Yeah, they are in this pattern of stair-stepping up, and if it continues, it would be really nice to see them, you know, kind of gap up again, which could definitely occur. It could occur. It could also go like this. Of course, I'm not a big fan of playing earnings. I wouldn't play them. We always recommend not to play them because as you get into, especially with options, as you get into it, the implied volatility spikes up, premiums rise, and then afterwards they kind of crash back down, and after that earnings expected move eventually happens or doesn't happen. Of course, you know, you'll catch some dubs every now and again, but I feel like the losers on that they outweigh the risk in my eyes. Outweigh the reward. Yeah, IV Crush. I never see people really profiting from earnings just because of that. Most people who gamble on them who are newer, they'll really love earnings, but then they'll learn their lesson, you know, usually once they've traded for a little while. It's one of those things. 5-minute chart, Tesla, I like the way it's coming back. Nvidia is even bouncing at 180. It applied some pressure at 180 support, but ended up bouncing. It technically broke a little bit, but as we know, there's more of like ranges around these supports. It doesn't mean like 180 even has to hold perfectly, but Nvidia is really pumping. 182.25 now. We'll see if it gets to like 184 here, 185. Next larger resistances I have are up around that zone. Oh, man. Yeah, you'll see that, Mason, sometimes. It's kind of like donating to the hedge funds. Especially when I see him do it with, like, super far out of the money options that have, like, a very, very, very low chance of profit. Man, what a comeback. There goes SPY through 684.50, powering up with NVIDIA. Wow, a little bounce back here today. For those of you that were watching around market open, I kind of thought the SPY was going to start bouncing back up like right here. It didn't quite happen right away, but we are getting that bounce now as the lower support held up. Like I said, I thought it was going to probably happen like right here, but was not the case. AMD is going up now too, KNMSO says. Advanced money dispenser. They fell through $200 a little bit here. AMD and the chip stocks are kind of really recovering here. Look at Micron on an intraday basis. Just broke through a double top and just started ripping up to 418. That is nice, Micron. MU looks explosive. Watch out for 420, everyone's favorite number coming up. You know, it was so weird. I had some delivery guys delivering appliances to me yesterday, and I swear to God, the one guy started bringing up 420. And I was like going, what the heck? I can't remember why. He said like something about the time or something. And I was like, oh no. Yeah, Mason, weeklies and $50 out of the money. Yep, that's how you do it. No, I'm kidding. Obviously, guys, we were going back to the talk about playing earnings. How people go too far out of the money. It's silly how people do that. The idea is that if the stock does move, you know, you could have some insane percentage gains, which does happen, but it's pretty rare that you'll end up catching something that crazy. That isn't expected or something, to some degree. I feel like most major movies are already priced in. Most major moves. When you say most major moves are priced in, you mean like let's say like a big earnings jump or something? Mason said it can be very comparable to roulette. Options is like playing numbers on roulette odds-wise, and shares is red or black. It kind of is that way. Maybe not quite as bad as individual numbers, but... or maybe worse. I'm not quite sure the odds. We'll be drafting for fantasy baseball soon. That'll be fun. So I know you guys probably haven't paid too much attention to this, but in February, we had February 13th was Friday. So we had Friday the 13th. Now we're actually going to have March 13th is Friday the 13th as well. So we're getting 2 months with Friday the 13th back to back. I don't know how rare that is, but I know that that's something that I was hearing the other day. Oh yeah, Mason, the March Madness bracket. That's right. I actually forgot about that. Where is that, on ESPN? ESPN always has me log in, and I can't ever remember my passwords on that one. There we go. I found it now. Maybe in a little while, I'm going to do this live here, guys. I'm going to do some picks here live. Mason, how many people can do this in here? I'm going to invite people. I'm copying a link. Guys, if you guys want to do a March Madness bracket with us at Stocked Up, here, check it out. Check out the link I'm sending in the chat. I'm going to do it in a little while here live for you guys, but like I said, in a little while. Right now, it's still prime time in the market. 9:16 in the morning. Well, technically 10:16 Eastern. Sorry, I'm Central Time. Wow, that'll be cool. Yeah, let's get a lot of people going in it. Rejection, Demir says. Yeah, no kidding. I'm actually watching support as it drops down. Right here. At 684. You can tell in pre-market there were quite a few hits at that. Use code Trading Floor if you want to join. Trading Floor, Trading Floor. We probably won't have too many people join up and do a bracket with us, but some might. Man, Tessie here. Right on resistance, 405.50. This is going to be a big zone for Tesla today. I'll tell you, though, it looks pretty bullish. I kind of like it back up from this point, where we're at on Tesla. There's a trend in play from this morning. If we could break through this trend here and break through resistance, Tesla will be looking pretty good. scalpers out there might be able to have some opportunities. Setting something up with that one, waiting for a move. I'm sure there's some people trying to play the bearish rejection off of it too. But we'll see which way it ends up hitting here. Market does seem like it's very choppy today. Back and forth, back and forth. You showed your parents the SpaceX city in Texas. There's really like a city there? I didn't know that. Palantir sitting here consolidating hard, like 135 to 137.50. Kind of stuck in a zone as well. Seeing a lot of stocks be stuck. The banks are continually dropping off here still. Wow. Wells Fargo looks brutal intraday. JP Morgan and Bank of America at least tried to bounce, but they're now pointing lower too. Let it fall and go red today. I wouldn't mind, really. As long as we get some solid direction going. KNMSO needs some red. Don't bag hold if it does turn around. For right now, though, it's very choppy on the day. Just make sure your risk is there. You don't want to blow anything up. Palantir actually is setting up in a pretty bullish way here. Palantir is looking pretty good. I like the possibility of a Palantir push. You have 3 puts expiring today. Have you been holding them all day or like all week? You got to be very careful holding these short-term expirations. Theta and time decay usually crush those down to be worth nothing. Of course, if you've been profitable on them this whole time, then you're not too bad. But generally, you know, I sell way before expiration on most things. Mason, I'm going to be doing my first round of golf this weekend. CALY is the new ticker for Callaway Golf. It's pretty low. It's been actually mounting a good comeback, though, the past few months. Honestly, since like the beginning of 25, it's had a pretty good comeback. No, you didn't tell me it was bad. Or maybe you did. I don't think so, though. What made it so bad? Oh, you did say that, actually, now. Yeah, you did say that. That sounds nuts. I would have left. I'm not kidding. Wow, look at Tesla get through the trend line here. That's a good bullish sign. Coconut said, I don't trade, so red makes me sad. Hey, I don't blame you. In that case, let's hit new highs. Wow, you paid $54 in the middle of February for it? There's some really nice courses by me that I was looking at playing. They were like only 50 or 60 bucks right now. They're usually like 130 in the summer, or like 150 or maybe even more sometimes, but I'm sure there's lots of expensive ones up in Chicago. Although maybe a lot are private, but oh God, Wes, that's nasty. I like the Visine one. Palantir, there we go. All right, Palantir, let's see it. Let's see a good extension here. It might consolidate slightly before the rip, but looking good so far. Let's go see AAPL Apple dumping. I saw Panay Gaines posted up in Discord. Wow, really breaking down. 269. Not looking good. That daily chart looks pretty brutal for Apple. Way in which it's turning over here. It could always shift back, but the negativity in the short term has been a little rough. Last week they really, or a couple weeks ago, they really tanked down on Thursday and Friday. That was a really large pullback for them. Yeah, Coconut. You know, a lot of money's been like heading where value is, and you know, there could be lots of other opportunities out there like that. Speaking of value stocks, how's like Walmart? How's Costco, Target? Let's check in on some of these. Not the best PA today or in the short term for these stocks. They were doing a lot better a couple weeks ago. They definitely slowed down. Mostly anyways. You got a couple of Apple puts you bought yesterday. They're printing this morning, Davis says. Hey, I'm glad to hear that. Sounds like a good end of the week for you there. That's a nice drop for you. That would have been exciting, holding some Apple puts today. So we're an hour into open. SPY has been very choppy. There was a slight, like, upside opportunity in my eyes, but it's still been very choppy. Tech made me enough money to afford joining live stream every day, but the AI revolution's slowing. It is starting to slow. There's been a lot of stuff like that. Oh, no, you're all good, Wes. I just... You never know what I'm gonna see in the chat, right? Let's see, DUOL. Duolingo. I see everybody going nuts about this one in Discord. My gosh, it is doing good. Wow, Duolingo. You bought back your loss? Hey! Man, Duolingo's on fire. It's about to hit $100 per share. It's a pretty big psychological level usually where there's a lot of orders stacked, but they died off with earnings yesterday, so I guess it makes sense to come back like this a little bit. You can see in the bottom right, they're obviously down on the day, even though they're ripping here from open. Well, I guess technically pre-market, but from the low of pre-market to where they are now, they're up 17%. That's quite the recovery. All right, here's Tesla. Look at the stair step. Tesla keeps bouncing off each area of support. What a move. How about Palantir? Rejected at the high of the day. Watch for some consolidation, but keep that high of day on the radar for a possible breakout. I'm actually going to put an alert there. We'll get alerted if it breaks. But that's where I think your opportunity could come on a quick scalp. Brain, how we doing? Jason. AAPL's about to fall again? Yeah, I mean, it's bleeding right now. I wouldn't be surprised if the bleeding continued. There'll always be slight pops back up, but I'm definitely leaning more down here. Give me 1 sec. I'm going to take a quick drink of this monster. My throat's killing me. That heals, Dexter says. It's a miracle potion. Now, this is kind of funny, you know, but looking at history and I guess like marketing or like the placebo effect, or I guess just people's I don't know how to explain this in a nice way, but maybe just people at the time were kind of dumb, right? So, like, let's say a long time ago, you know, in like let's say the old West, right? People would sometimes like go around with like miracle cures, like random potions and, you know, stuff like that. And it was kind of silly, but, you know, people kind of thought that you could cure anything by just drinking like a few drops of something or something wild, right? And maybe some stuff, right? Maybe cure some things, but man, I can't believe how some of that goes. Are you saying my snake oil isn't real? No, that's stuff in the old days. Crazy stuff. Man, Palantir. Come on, let's get back up there. I'm waiting for it. Spy's getting up there, though, so we'll turn Spy back on for a moment. How about Mag 7 is what we'll look at. It'd be nice to see Nvidia just get a nice jump and pop from this point. Really help fuel this SPY run. Yeah, I haven't heard that in a long time, Vintage. Where do I always see that stuff? I've definitely seen that stuff a lot, like in games or something. Man, SPY though, double topping here, 685.50. It looks like it could possibly break though, so keep it on the radar. SPY might try to get a little breakout here. If it does break, I would love to see it run up towards like 686.50 to 688, back into that huge zone. That's a big zone overhead. And I'm not surprised to see SPY bouncing, guys, because you know why? Let's go back to our wedge. Let's go back to our wedge. That's wild how volatile SPY's been within this wedge, honestly. Really waiting for a breakout, either up and out of the wedge or down and out of the wedge, right? So we're looking at the wedge right now, like which way are we finally gonna go? That's the $1 million question I think that traders are looking for here. And it'll probably be a more significant move than this even, but I want to see something happen. I want to see some fireworks pop off. Of course, Iran talks are still coming up. Next week on Monday, they're set to resume, so that'll be good. You've been jamming to the Stranger Things adjacent music. Okay. Yeah, somebody said that it sounded like this the other day. I can't remember if that was you or not, but I think that's what they meant. You're deep in a penny stock, and Robinhood logged me out of my account while you bought shares. Oh. Don't over leverage. You're starting to scare me, all night gamer. Palantir's not getting close to that resistance. SPY is though. There's SPY coming up to that high of the day, or high since open. Very interesting. There it is. Double top broke. No, like, real momentum, though, on the break. I'll say that. While it is moving up, I mean, seriously, not a ton of momentum. There's also rumors floating around that DeepSeek V4 is coming out. Oh, wow. Yeah, I mean, we just keep hearing new announcements about AI updates or new features added to AIs. I mean, that gets lumped into updates, but at the end of the day, these AIs keep making more advancements and it keeps hitting the stocks, hitting stocks in the market, right? What's next? What's the next sector to be hit by AI advancement? Anthropic claims DeepSeek stole their tech. Irony considering how AI was trained. How were they trained, Coconut? All night sold out because you wanted the 100? You got back in, it was a cash account? There's SPY still kind of steadily going. Sorry about that, guys. Taking care of something really quick. All Night Gamer says that they're too broke and scared of margin. Now that's not good. How does it even work? How do I trade more than what I have without me just spam buying, forgetting about the mail? Yeah, you know, it's a bit different, you know, like whenever you're trading with margin. So here's the deal. Whenever you're trading options, the real thing that you're using margin for is literally just a day trade. Like, because what it does is instead of having to wait for the trades to settle like a cash account, they're just using the margin essentially for the settlement. So you're able to keep trading because it's kind of complicated, but just look at it that way. That's the easy way to say it. And whenever you're trading margin, like you asked, how do you trade with more than what you have? So generally with options, they're not going to let you like go deep into margin, right? But if you're trading shares, here's how you could really do it. If you have like, let's say a $5,000 account, they might let you trade with $10,000 worth of stock. Now, if you just buy $5,000 worth of stock and you don't go into the margin, you don't have to worry about the margin. You're just using the money in your account, right? But if you go over the 5,000 that you put in, like, and they're allowing you to trade with 10,000, if you go over that, what you're doing then is it's almost like, and this isn't technically like it's not like a home loan or anything like that, but you're essentially borrowing money from them is what you're doing. You're borrowing money from the broker, and they're actually charging you fees on the margin on the money that you are borrowing from them using margin. So it's kind of costly, you know, if you do it. And what I see a lot of newer traders do with margin, and the reason why it sounds so scary, is because people, they have no self-control, right? Like, let's say you're trading Tesla, and let's say you're a noob, like you're brand new to stocks. You're like, oh my gosh, I opened up this new margin account. I put 5 grand in. They're letting me have 10 grand. Oh my gosh, I might as well use it, right? If Tesla goes up, I'll make double. Well, they might buy in with Tesla at the wrong time, and then, you know, Tesla pulls back, let's say 30-40%. If it pulls back enough, it's gonna blow up their account, essentially, is what's gonna happen. They're gonna end up blowing their account, and then they're gonna get margin called, and the broker's gonna force close those positions as they get close to your account getting wiped, right? I know that's weird, but that's kind of how it works. And it's happened to me when I was brand new as well. You know, I went through the exact same thing that a lot of other people have went through. But that's how people get hurt with it. But if you're smart and you just don't use more than what's in your account, then you're all good. JG Wentworth, 877 cash now. It's really hard for me not to sing that. Bank of America pulling back, double bottom here, 49.80. I think it's smart for most people to have a cash account, if I was going to be honest. It lets you day trade more. You can do, like, you know, let's say you have a $3,000 account. You could do 3 $1,000 trades per day. Now, you might not necessarily want to do that because you could blow up, you know, using the whole account, but you know, you could use some of it. And again, instead, maybe you have a $3,000 account, you take 3 $500 positions, right? That way, each position, maybe you're risking 10%. Maybe you're risking in that case like $50 per trade, something like that. All right, let's go to the Mag 7 again. SPY slowing up slightly, but it's still on a little uptrend. Starting to see a lot of these tech stocks pull over, though. You can see Microsoft, Google, Meta, Tesla, Nvidia, Amazon, even Apple are all kind of turning back over here. Especially Tesla and Meta. Those two look especially bearish here. What a pullback, though, across the board. Seriously, that is a pretty big pullback. Even though SPY's not necessarily pulling all the way back down, it's still a pretty good one. Tesla is dropping in a pretty crazy fashion as well. You started in 4x. You almost need margin. Oh, wow, Steven. That's kind of what I did. I went from futures. I used to trade like currency futures. Like I would trade like 6E and 6J, I think, and a whole bunch of those different ones out there back in the day, but I started in futures as well. Kind of strange. Yeah, it seemed a bit backwards for me too. You still like it? Yeah. It's fun to trade, man. Let me pull it up here. What? Euro FX futures. I used to love trading these. Haven't gotten into them in a while, though. If I dabble in futures anymore, it's generally just crude oil, gold, silver, or like copper. Maybe the S&P, but I mean, that would only be for like very, 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 very quick hits or something, but Dell had good earnings. Probably from the people having to upgrade their PCs. You're probably right. Dell really did explode on the daily, though. That is a good move. Your first trade was AMC back in 2021. Bought $5,000 in shares, and 6 months later, it gave you 40 grand. Wow, now that's a pretty good one. Percentage-wise, to turn 5 grand into 40 grand in 6 months is pretty damn good, degenerate. That's actually really good. Now, don't tell me you ended up giving it back or something. I know with AMC and GameStop, a lot of people did. I know some people actually that made like 100 grand and then they lost it all back within like a week. Beyond gave out at 200. Beyond Meat is pretty bad, man. At this point, it's like a pipe dream. It's getting so low, it's like, my gosh, what do you do? Upgrading PC isn't just replacing hardware. It's having to set them up, getting contractors to do installs, getting software. Yeah, especially for some of these companies too. You know, for some it's probably very easy. It's more of like a laid back process, but gosh, I could imagine some of these like tech companies and things. Whew. I know it can get complicated for more normal things too, but I can only imagine. Have your clone do it. INTC. Not doing too much today. Let's go back to Micron, which was ripping. Still close to the high of the day. They're kind of double bottoming right around $400 here the past couple trading days. So watch out. That's a pretty good double bottom. They might try to extend up here into this afternoon. Palantir's still sitting there too. Like I said, set up that alert at the high of the day. If they start ripping past that, could be some opportunities coming through as well there. Thoughts on ASML? They're actually a crazy company. I think that there could be great opportunity with ASML. It's just hard to say when to buy in, right? I don't know if you necessarily mean for like a day trade or more of a longer term hold. I'm assuming you mean more long term. And I feel like buying up the dips is usually pretty solid on ASML. But I would really wait for more of a pullback and try to find a better entry point. I think it's a little overextended at this moment. But if we see like a good pullback, like with AI or tech in general, maybe kind of like the Liberation Day sell-off, or maybe like, even if it's not that bad, but close, I think that we could see a really good entry opportunity. Long as in long term. Gotcha, yeah. Yeah, in that case, you know, it's hard to say not to just dollar cost average in. I know that that's just like a very easy answer to say, but I mean, ASML is pretty solid. I would just wait for a pullback, really. And then start DCAing in. Tessie pulling back hard there as SPY continues to hold and push. SPY's holding up pretty well here. Still stair-stepping for now. We'll probably see something happen here eventually, but... Good guy, I trade the same way across everything. A market structure trader here. It's just learning to trade a different market that's hard. Going from pips to points to shares. Oh, I got you, Steven. Pips to points to shares. It's pretty funny how that works. Let's look at FedEx here. FDX, nice resistance overhead. UPS starting to pop too. Chancy said quantum's diving. Diving. QBTS, QUBT, IONQ. Wow, they really are, aren't they? Some of them had earnings recently and did pretty well, but big pullback today, 9.5%. Definitely down a lot. Or quite a bit anyways. All right, guys, I think we're going to go ahead and call it there. I hope everybody's had a great end of the week here this Friday. I know that there's been some insane price action going on. SPY's constantly back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. At least intraday today, we're starting to see a bit of a climb into the afternoon. Although resistance seems to be holding up. So watch out. It's a slow chop higher here today. You might need to look at other sectors, or really sometimes sitting on the sidelines is the way to go. If it's not the type of market for you, no reason to really force it. But I really appreciate everybody joining up, helping make this community what it is, supporting us and everything. I hope everybody has a great weekend out there. There's going to be some decent weather, at least where I am. Hopefully the snow goes away on the East Coast. But all right, guys. I'll go ahead and talk to you later. Have a great rest of the day. If you're not yet in the Discord, join it up. It's free to join. Other than that, I'll see you guys Monday. Have a great one.